Well, good afternoon from what is a really lovely autumnal day here in Peterborough. Barely a cloud in the sky. Our sun's been out, absolutely beautiful. So I thought I'd spend today sorting out the greenhouse, taking out the tomatoes which had died. So tomorrow I'll probably be making some green tomato chutney, just with the few that are left over, having a general bit of a tidy up and starting to get things ready for winter. Now, we've been really lucky over the last couple of years that our winters have been really quite mild. I know in April, was it 18? We had snow. Here in Peterborough, like always, we had snow 10 days after everybody else, so we always get it when everybody else is bored of talking about it. But we haven't really had a great deal in the way of hard frosts or snow for some years. So I've always tried keeping a lot of my plants outside, and I've got away with it so far, mostly. Lost one or two things, but not very many. But this year, now that we have the greenhouse, I thought it would be time to actually put a bit of an effort in and put some things in the greenhouse. So I was just going to talk through some of the exotics that we've got here on the deck. I spent a bit of time in Australia, as Steve is fed up of me saying, and got quite interested in bush foods. And I don't know if there's a long shot anybody listening who's in Adelaide, but I love the farmers market, and the ice creams made from the bush foods are just fantastic. So when I came back, I thought I'd spend a bit of time and try to germinate some seeds. Now, sounds easy. You buy them mail order, not a problem. We don't have the biosecurity rules here that other countries do, but they're not that easy to germinate. So I had a little bit of success with a baptisia, which is like a blue pea, and that was 10 years ago, so that's now died. But many of them are very difficult to germinate. As you're all aware, the bushfires in Australia last year were pretty devastating. But actually a lot of the Australian plants have evolved to require smoke in order to germinate. Now, you can buy smoke discs, which I've tried. You can try burning them, which I've tried, but still it's quite difficult. So I've ended up with a bit of a motley collection of plants from various sources, and it's quite heartening to see that it's easier to get exotic plants. Now, these are all kept in pots. Many of them are not particularly frost hardy, which is one reason for putting them in pots, so I can move them. The other is that the garden is mostly native species, and native species are really happy here and they grow. But incomers, unfortunately, occasionally can take over, and we all know about knotweed and seeing the Himalayan balsam probably amongst the rivers, alongside the rivers. So I was a little bit conscious that whilst I have some plants in the garden, actually most of them I'll be putting in pots. So the first ones to show you are the limes. Now this one, which as you can see, hopefully, is actually starting to flower, is a Kaffir lime. This one has definitely been bought, so it's looking a little bit unhappy because it hasn't been brought in yet, but it's definitely been bought for its leaves for cooking. Beautiful lime flavour. If you buy the dried ones and put them in your food, the dried ones, they will crumble up and they will, so you can actually eat them. These you need to take out if you've used them as flavouring, but they are fantastically limey. And next to it is a finger lime. Now, again, it's an Australian one. Makes the most delicious ice cream, and as you can see, this one is flowering. And actually there is the tiniest of finger limes here. I've had about 2 or 3 off, none of them big enough to do anything with, but this is quite a young plant. I've had it a couple of years, a couple more there and there, which is pretty good. So if I do get any success, then it's supposed to be good for jam. They're supposed to be good for jams, marmalades, so try that. And next to it is a lemon scented myrtle. Again, this is another one for cooking. This is one which I've had to buy as I've been unable to find seeds for. There's lemon myrtle and lemon eucalyptus, and actually if you read around, the two get very confused. This one is a lemon myrtle. It's Backhausia citridora, which I will show you the label because that might be easier. Again, a beautiful lemony scent, which is good for using in cooking. And then over here we have a lemon eucalyptus. Now this one is a much harsher lemon. Obviously it's very difficult, I can't actually show you. And this one I've grown from seed after several years of trying and not getting them through the first few leaves. This one, it's probably a bit cold for it now, but is starting to, go to a size that I think I'm hoping I might be able to keep it for a year or so, or two. So this one's the lemon eucalyptus. And myrtles and eucalyptuses actually are all the same family. So these will all be going inside. I have here also a couple of pepper plants. Now the idea was first to get the Szechuan pepper, you see, and these are actually related to citrus fruits, as you can see the huge prickles on it here, and the limes back there are also pretty fierce. Now these are supposed to be hardy, so this one will probably stay outside. And then there's a Japanese one here, which is to hopefully they will fertilise each other eventually when they get old enough, and I'll be able to get some fruit off it. Now again, Szechuan pepper is very redolent of Chinese meals. It's just a bit more interesting than black pepper if you're cooking. So as I said, these two I'm going to try outside, but I've got to excavate what I've got in here. And it's this one, which is another one I tried to grow when I came back from Australia, failed miserably, and I found one to buy. And these are called lily pillies, or brush cherry. Again, these are supposed to be hardy down to sort of 0-ish, but I'm not sure I'm going to take a chance with it. I'm not expecting fruit for a while, but this is a fruit that's really nice in jam. Ice cream's made with it, so we thought we'd try that. Just finally, in this little corner, which has all been taken over by the blackcurrant sage, is this one. And this one is a genuine curry plant. Now, when people talk about curry plants, we always think of the helichrysum, the grey, silvery grey leaves, but actually that smells of curry. But actually that's not used in cooking. This is the one that's used in cooking, particularly I'm told in southern Indian dishes, or Morea Königii you might find it called, and it's quite a distinct, almost oily smell. But it's always nice, as I said, when you're making curries to be able to put the fresh ingredients in, so that's what that one's for. This one will be coming in, lily pillies are coming in, and the eucalyptus will be coming in. This one here is a grape, which I'll need to get into the ground somewhere around here next year, but I've not quite decided where. I'll bring that in as well, or to overwinter. It's one that can be inside or grown inside or outside. So I was just say a quick look at some of the plants I need to bring in. We'll also be bringing in the geraniums. Most of them are actually already in the greenhouse, and the fuchsias, which weathered quite well last year in one of the small polythene greenhouses. So they've all been set up along the side of the benching. I'm going to try and keep these two physalis for next year. Oh, and the big one, which is still going, although it's not ripening particularly well, so we're not that. We'll see what happens with that one. And the chilies will also stay in here. Now, I may end up bubble wrapping these ones as well to try and protect the roots, because it's 15.7 degrees in here, and obviously it's not going to be much protection from a proper winter frost. Hopefully stop micing, but it's still going to be cold. So we'll see how they go, but I either cover them in fleece, which is like a type of membrane. It's very similar to what gardener's fleece is very similar to what you put down, a lightweight membrane to go under gravel. I will, one or two of the pots that we're staying out, I'll be putting that round, and I will be bubble wrapping the really tender stuff, which will probably be the limes and the Morea. The curry plants will get bubble wrap as well. So yeah, just a quick update on a couple more plants in here. Fingers crossed we'll have them again next year, we shall see. Bit of a shout out to Mags, who is Devoncoy's other half, and with the advice on the acers, they've been fine, but they've been losing their leaves. They're probably in a place that's a little bit too open for them, so I'm going to bring them up onto the deck, probably put them here so they get protected throughout the winter and next summer from prevailing wind, which is westward, which is that way. So thanks very much for that, and we'll see if it helps. Thank you very much for listening to some more garden ramblings, and we'll see you again on the next one. And if I don't get a chance to say to everybody, have a good Christmas.